It's done as Cyle Larin leaves behind a top 5 league in La Liga and Mallorca, but heads off to the Netherlands to join Eredivisie side in Feyenoord. And to some supporters, this might just be a step backwards, a step in the wrong direction for some Canadian supporters, for one of the best goal scorers in Canadian men's national team history. But this is definitely not a step in the wrong direction. This is a step forward. This is a very exciting transfer for Cyle Larin to leave behind Mallorca, leave behind that toxic fan base that did never take to Cyle Larin, who still was a decent goal scorer for Mallorca when given his opportunities. And yes, some supporters might look at this as a step backwards, a step in the wrong direction. But you just gotta look at what Cyle Larin is getting at Feyenoord. He is joining a side that is going to be contending at the top of the Eredivisie. He is joining a side that is looking to win titles this season. A team that could win the Eredivisie, and a side that at the time of recording has come out from 3 matches with 3 wins, playing very impressive football. Also a team that is currently in European competition, that are in the Europa League, that are also playing against some of the best sides within the competition. And also, Cyle Larin will be under the tutelage, under the knowledge of one of the best goal scorers, one of the best strikers within this generation. This is an incredible move for Cyle Larin, and anyone who thinks this is a step backwards is too focused on the Tier 1 conversation, is too focused on the top 5 league quota. Yes, Cyle Larin could have stayed in La Liga. There was interest from clubs like Valencia. There was interest in Getafe. And he could have joined one of those sides. But he chose a fresh start. He chose a new home. He chose a new club and a side where he has a legitimate chance at starting and winning titles and playing under one of the best strikers in this generation. And I don't think this is a step backwards at all. Nowhere close. This is a step forward and a very exciting move for Cyle Larin, the 30-year-old Canadian international striker, the second highest goal scorer in Canadian men's national team history, a year away from the World Cup. This was a much needed move. And I'd love to hear what you guys have to think down below in the comments. Was this a step backwards for you? Should he have stayed in La Liga? Or was it a right move by joining Feyenoord? Because I truly think it was. Make sure to smash that like button, guys. It really helps with the content. And hit that sub button as we move closer to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. But this just doesn't seem like a step backwards in any means of the way. Yes, Cyle Larin will be contending with a Japanese international for the first spot and the starting lineup position with Ueda. The Japanese international is off to a flying start this year for Feyenoord in 5 appearances, bagging 4 goals this season. But also, he didn't have a great season last year. Ueda had 9 goals in 31 appearances, only 2 more than Cyle Larin had in a weaker division, but with a better side. And also in his first season with Feyenoord, Ueda only bagged 5 goals in 37. This is a striker which Cyle Larin can beat out for that first position in Robin van Persie's team. And Robin van Persie himself gave Cyle Larin the call saying, I want you, saying, I need you with my team. And what's even better is this will be a 1A, 1B situation. These are 2 very good strikers, and Cyle Larin, when he gets scoring, when he's in full flow, Cyle Larin having confidence is a very good striker. Yes, he's not loved and adored by all of the Canadian fan base, but he is still an experienced striker, still has a clinical finish, and if he has confidence, Cyle Larin can play some amazing football. Yes, he hasn't been at the best lately, but he still scored with Mallorca. He had 7 goals in each of his seasons there, and even scored 8 goals with Valladolid in a short period in La Liga. This is a striker in Cyle Larin who has proven himself in one of the best leagues, for me, the second best league in world football in La Liga. And yes, he could have stayed at Getafe or went to Getafe. He could have went to Valencia and stayed in La Liga in Spain, in one of the best leagues in world football, and continue to try and go there and score prolifically like he did at Valladolid. But Cyle Larin needed a fresh start. He needed a new change of scenery. He needed a new league. And the fact someone like Robin van Persie is calling you, the fact someone of Robin Van Persie's ilk, someone of his quality, what he brought to the world of football, is saying, I want you at my club. I want to manage you. I want to have you in my team for a title contending season, must fill Cyle Larin with an abundance of confidence. This is a 30-year-old Canadian international who got a lot of slander from the Mallorca supporters, hasn't been in the best vein with Canadian supporters, and needs to get back in a run of confidence. Needs something to get him going once again. And playing for a manager like Robin Van Persie is a huge boost, especially when he's calling him and saying he wants him. Having a manager who backs you, having a manager who says he wants you at the club is a huge point of contention, because some sporting directors, some clubs get signings and don't always get backed by the manager. And this is one that is truly doing that. Cyle Larin going to Feyenoord will have that opportunity. He will have chances to have games time for Feyenoord. It is there. They are in the Eredivisie. There is going to be a lot of matches for them this season. They're also in the Europa League. This is a side that can legitimately go out and win a European competition or possibly do a double. Yes, they're not the favorites for the Europa League, but they are one of the bigger sides in it. They're one of the best teams in the Europa League, up there with Aston Villa, up there with Real Betis, up there with Celtic. This side legitimately has a chance to go out and win the Europa League, and Cyle Larin has an opportunity to bolster his roster spot for the World Cup in a year's time in Canada, in the USA, and in Mexico. And this is a perfect move for him. For me, this is an A-plus transfer for Cyle Larin. Yes, this is a reaction video. This is a pure reaction to seeing Cyle Larin get the here we go from Fabrizio Romano, from Mallorca to Feyenoord. And for me, this is a bang A-plus transfer for Cyle Larin. Needed a move away from Mallorca, needed a fresh start, needed a new club, gets to go to a side that's going to be contending for titles this season with PSV Eindhoven and Ajax, a side that's off to a flying start this season under the manager in Robin Van Persie. And what Cyle Larin will learn this season, the finishing techniques, the stuff he will learn on the training pitch from one of the best strikers to play the game, is going to do him a world of good. And even if it's just him coming on for 25, 30, 40 minutes off the bench for Ueda, even him getting matches in the cup, even him getting rotational minutes in the Eredivisie, it's a huge boost for Cyle Larin, just to boost his stock for the World Cup, for that home World Cup, to try and get that second spot behind Jonathan David and play alongside him at the World Cup for Canada. This is a major move. And there's no way this is a step backwards for Cyle Larin. Yes, there is the whole Tier 1 situation. Yes, there's the whole play in a top 5 league. But the Eredivisie is a fantastic league. There's quality in this division, especially at the top of the table. Between Feyenoord, Ajax, PSV, AZ Alkmaar, this is a good division. And the fact Feyenoord wanted Cyle Larin, the fact Cyle Larin was able to go from a bottom-feeding side, one of the sides in La Liga that are fighting off relegation, to a side that might just contend for a Europa League title, speaks facts to what is there with Cyle Larin, the quality that people do see in him. Yes, he might not be in the best vein with some supporters, but he can go and prove it at Feyenoord, and I truly believe he will. And he has an opportunity in the Europa League to play against some major teams. Their run, their schedule in the Europa League is very exciting for Cyle Larin. They're going to Portugal to play against Braga. They are playing Aston Villa, which is a massive opportunity for Cyle Larin to prove himself against a Premier League side. Playing against Panathinaikos, Stuttgart, as well as a Canadian clash, as they will be taking on Celtic FC. And yes, Alistair Johnston's currently down with an hamstring injury, but that game isn't until November 27th. That is a game that Canadians should circle on the calendar. Alistair Johnston might just be back. That is a great opportunity to see Cyle Larin against Alistair Johnston. Two Canadian veterans, two Canadians with loads and abundance of European football experience playing against each other, going head to head. Celtic versus Feyenoord, two big football clubs against Cyle versus Alistair would be something of dreams. It is something we have to keep on our calendars marked, and it is a very exciting time for the Canamanti supporters. as Cyle Larin looks to make a permanent transfer from Mallorca to Feyenoord in the Eredivisie, a side challenging for the title, a side in the Europa League, and also managed by Robin Van Persie. That has gotten the here we go from Fabrizio Romano, and Cyle Larin is a Feyenoord football player. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, guys. Is this a step backwards for Cyle Larin? Because I truly don't believe it is. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure to smash that like button, guys. Hit that sub button because I'd love to hit 1,000 subscribers before the turn of the year. And make sure to hit that sub button. And I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.